Welcome back, everybody. This is part 8 of part 8.2 or part 8.1 because this is going to be a multiple parts now episode. So this is part 8.1 because this is going to be the first of where things will change. Last episode we went over how Beacon Tower fell, and we were going over through what Arthur was doing during the fall of Beacon Tower. As he was doing a lot of things, he prevented Cinder from killing Pyrrha. That's one of them. He couldn't prevent Penny from getting ripped apart, and I didn't go over the Yang situation. He did sort of had a small play. He prevented Yang from dying. That's one thing. Yang was gonna die in this what if, but he prevented that by ramming a giant spaceship, Atlas spaceship, into Beacon Tower, both saving Pyrrha and Yang at the same time. But Yang still lost her arm, so yeah, rip for Yang, losing her arm. She still loses it. And we also went over how he also basically cut off Cinder's arm and cut off her eye, just like in canon. But the difference is I discussed how Arthur fell unconscious. Now, I didn't discuss where they were. So when he sent a giant spaceship ramming into Atlas Tower, everything just went collapsing. So that's first off. So when he was busy fighting Cinder, he was on the ground floor. So that means he wasn't on the tower anymore, he was on the ground floor, where everyone else can see him. Where everyone else can see him. And yeah, we discussed how he basically cut off Cinder's arm and took out Cinder's eye, and everyone saw that because he's not fighting on the tower, he's fighting on the ground floor where everyone else is. And if you're wondering how did they get there, how do you think they got there? They fell more than 500 stories. And the beginning of the anime, also of RWBY anime, Osborn did a test called landing strategy. So yeah, they had to use their landing strategy, which was coming to effect now. And yeah, so I'm going to do a quick pause here because now I'm going to get into the juicy parts of the episode and where things might change. Okay, let's begin. So what I just said is Cinder left. That's what Arthur thinks. Arthur thinks Cinder left. But if we're looking through Ruby's eyes, Cinder is still there, injured. And she's just doing a final FU moment, and she's basically doing a final FU moment, and I'm gonna take somebody you love. As she is targeting Ruby. As Arthur is lying on the floor, unconscious, what seemingly is unconscious, as Ruby is next to Arthur, worried about him. Obviously, she doesn't know if he's alive. She doesn't know if he's dead. She doesn't know if he's just unconscious. She doesn't know that. As Pyrrha comes back in, I would say no. Pyrrha doesn't save Ruby in time. As Cinder launches her attack on Ruby, Ruby wasn't expecting this, and also Ruby doesn't have a weapon. Kristen Rose. So Ruby only notices the attack now, and it's about to hit her. As she watches this attack come towards her, the person that saves her is Pyrrha, because Pyrrha is the closest person there. So the people that were trying to save her are Crow and some of her other friends like Blake, Blake or Weiss. But they are obviously far, far away, and the only person that could save her is Pyrrha. As Pyrrha gets impaled by by Cinder's attack as she drops to the floor. As I stated that this is like, I still wanted Ruby to use her eyes, her silver eyes, so she's still gonna use it in this one, but it's gonna be like a dominoes effect. So once Ruby uses her silver eyes, it's just gonna domino effect now. It's gonna do a domino effect now. Now, as Ruby sees her friend drop as blood is everywhere, she's not badly injured, but she is injured. And if she doesn't get the injuries seen to soon, rather soon rather than later, she might die. She might. As, yeah, as obviously Ruby still uses her silver eyes, Cinder and them all retreat as Beacon Tower has fallen. Now the difference is, this is where things get different, because the people that are knocked out as follows. Yang is knocked out, Ruby is knocked out, Pyrrha is knocked out and not on death's door, but is going towards death's door. Arthur is knocked out. Arthur doesn't, not on death's door, he's just knocked out. I'm trying to think who else is here. The people that are here now are two villains as well that are actually fighting with the hunters, so they're not any more villains. That is Torchwig and Neo. And the villains that just left was Cinder, Emerald, and Silver. They just left. They booked it. As Cinder is badly injured. Not on death's door, but badly injured. As remember that dominoes effect that Ruby is gonna have a play in? It's right now happening as we see Arthur react to this sort of power that Ruby has basically let out. This infects. So the power that Ruby used affects everything that is in her line of sight. Anything that gets covered with this light. So that's why it's now going to trigger Arthur, as Arthur's same light, which he used back at when Beacon was still basically not in a war zone state, when he unlocked some of his power and also unlocked his left eye. So I think I stated he has both eyes in this one. He has both eyes in this one. So yes, he still has both eyes. But now Arthur's about to go nuclear. What I mean by nuclear is he just needs a little push. He just needed that push to go. He just needed that small push from Ruby for his power to go out of control. As now his power is going out of control as it's causing this tornado effect. I want you to imagine when Natsu used his fire attack as it made those fire tornadoes. But but imagine them just white and very bright. Yes, this is his soul. It's a very it's trans. You can see through it, but it's a very transient color of a rainbow, obviously. Why a rainbow? You're gonna find out soon. But yeah, as we see his eyes obviously turning white, so is his mouth, as his body is busy breaking apart. As we see him like the Avengers, he's busy turning to dust, but the dust is going up and he's busy cracking slowly, like a breaking pot. As he's keeping it together, so is his soul. It's also cracking, but no one knows why this is. It's because of basically the small push that Ruby gave Arthur. Arthur was already on the edge of his power going crazy, but now Ruby has just pushed him over that limit. As he is getting, it's just getting a bit bright. as Arthur is producing the same light that Ruby can produce with her eyes, but it's more brighter than hers, and it's also affecting the entire beacon area. It's affecting beacon itself. So all the Grim that is in beacon right now are just being it's just been no, it's just been turned to stone. I wanted to throw a joke in there, but nah, rather not. Yes, all Grim that are in beacon now are being turned to stone, as in, yeah, he's killing every Grim in beacon right now. So beacon is going to be free for Grim for a while, as more and more this bright light takes over, as we see a dark entity appear out of nowhere, seemingly out of nowhere. It's in front of Crow at the moment. As this person stands in front of Crow, she is covered in this dark aura, as Crow can see it. Crow can see the dark aura, as Crow, she doesn't look at Crow, she's looking at where the light is coming from. And yes, it's a she. Crow can make out it's a she. As this person walks over to where the light is, as the more closer the more closer you go towards where the light is coming from, the more hard it is to basically move forward. As Crow has to cover his face, but she's not even covering it. She's not even like bothered. She just keeps on walking and walking until she gets to where the light tornado is. As she basically pulls out her sword and then cuts it in half. As when she cuts it in half, it gives off this like I want to give an image. If you watched Black Clover and you saw the Black Clover, what's his name? Yami. He has a new spell called Universal Slash, I think. He can cut between. He can basically cut universal cut, so he can cut everything in half, and it gives off that thing that's like splitting in two. Yeah, it gives off that. Now think of that image, but instead of with the tornado and not hurting Arthur, as the tornado gets cut in half as she walks through the open gap and basically comes to Arthur. As she places a hand on Arthur's, how can I say it, chest, where Arthur's soul is. As she pulls Arthur's soul out, as I'm gonna say that while she did that, the tornado starts turning from a white color to a mixture of black and white, as it starts dying down slowly. As for some reason, Arthur also starts like slowly his powers going down, stops becoming a nuke, as eventually everything calms down, as Arthur is now in the arms of this person. As this person looks around and sees one nearly one person that's nearly dead, which is Pira this time. This took a while, so Pira is now like close towards death's door, so if someone doesn't heal her quickly, she might die. But yeah, that's not going to happen because I'm not going to have Pira die in this what if. So yes, as she sees Pira's dead body, as she sees broken parts of also Penny, or she sees the soul where her soul, Penny's soul is, or the program of her soul, I think. But she sees where Penny's like consciousness and where her body, like her consciousness is, and her soul. Sure, so she takes that as well, and some of Penny's parts. As how is she doing all of this? Well, she made shadow clones. She made shadow clones. She made at least 5 of them. As the 3 that are not doing anything, well, they look around as one is just looking around as one brings their eye onto Neo. As they see Neo, Neo is up against the wall because she just got flung back, and Torchwig went straight through the wall, actually went straight through a wall and into the building. As they're not knocked out, they're just slightly dazed, as this girl just knocks them out and then takes them with her. And the reason why she knows to take these two both, well, this girl and Arthur has a connection. Well, it's a mind connection, to be more certain. It's a mind connection. And she also did something that I will tell you about later. But yeah, as they grab both Neo and Torchwick as a portal opens up behind them. As everyone can see, as Crow is like, hey, wait a minute, you girl, where are you? As she doesn't say anything, she just looks back at Crow and then walks away. As Crow is like, wait, hold up, wait, as they go through the portal, as the portal closed. As Crow was about to chase them as he stumbles over his own feet. While the blast that Arthur was making was very, very powerful. As Ruby's still there, they didn't take Ruby because Ruby was just unconscious. So they didn't take Ruby. Actually, they also took Piro. Oh wait, did I say they took Piro? Yes, they took Piro. They didn't take Yang either because Yang was too far. But they didn't take Ruby because Ruby didn't needed it and she was knocked out. So yeah. Now we shall continue the what if. First person to wake up is Neo. As Neo wakes up, as she jumps up, as she looks around, left, right, as she's quite startled at where she is. She is in some type of bedroom. As she continues looking around, as it's basically a room with a bunch of beds, as she looks at who's sleeping in the other beds, she finds Torchwick. As she wakes up Torchwick, as Torchwick's like, Neo, I'm too tired, it's too early to wake up. Wake me up later. As she continues, as she, instead of lightly wakes him up, she just slaps Torchwick. Ow! That hurt. As Torchwick sees where he is, as he remembers, and he's like, what happened? Where are we? As they look at the other beds, they see Pira, they see Pira, and that's it. So they only see Pira left there. Penny is not in this room, as they wake up Pira as well. As Pira wakes up, all she remembered was getting stabbed. As she's like, what happened? Where am I? As she's looking around, as it's just Torchwick and Neo that are there. As Torchwick states, as Pyrrha asks, where are we? As Torchwick also says, I have no idea. 1 minute I was flung through. 1 minute after an explosion, I was thrown through a wall into a building. The next I was knocked out, and the next I was here. So I don't remember. Pierce says, well, I don't remember anything. All I remember was getting stabbed. As Neo, also the same thing, getting launched to a wall and getting knocked out by a person and then waking up here. So she doesn't know where she is either. But not no one understood what she said. Still, no one understood what she said. She doesn't need to say anything because Torchwig's story correlates with Neo's story. So Torchwig could just say what happened to Neo. As the weapons they have are not here. As they walk out, they don't walk through the door, as they very carefully walk through the door. Actually, the door is not locked, as they see a hallway. It's a long hallway, long corridor with different doors. Each door is different in its art style. one is of olden and plants are taking over it. The other one is more technological and a very, very advanced. As that was the first door they see, so they enter that door first. And that door also opened itself, so yeah. As the door opens up from up, so instead of like normal doors, it goes up. As they see a container, they see multiple containers. As what in one of the containers, Pira's in. As they see, as no, as one of the containers, Penny's in. As Pira states Penny, as Pira like goes towards the glass and puts her hand on. As Penny wakes up in this container, as she sees Pira, as she says Pira, as she looks around, she doesn't remember anything because her recording, or she basically died when Pira basically tore her apart. As Pira is looking around this laboratory and states, "Can we open this capsule?" As Torchwig, I would say he has some form of, because I would like assume if he's able to fly an Atlas ship in the original like anime, then he's able to like free Penny, as he finds the like control hatch and releases Penny. As Penny comes out of this container, ah, whoa, what happened, Pira? As Pira just starts explaining to Penny what happened and saying that she's sorry, as Penny forgives her, and it was that she understand it was not Pira's intention to harm her in any way, as that small friendship like happened, as they continue going outside. As Penny states she doesn't know that she is scanning the building now, and the building there's no correlation on any Atlas building or any medical building that looks like this. So they are somewhere either in enemy territory or someone's house. Penny does not know, to be more specific. As they continue walking the hallways, they don't open any other doors, because the doors are all locked as well. As they continue walking, they walk out into this living room. This living room is quite big, very big. It has a dining table, which is massive, a lounge area which has a big TV, and has double staircases going up on each side. So there's a second floor. So they were on the first floor. As they look around, as they still see nothing, I would say that they would split up, as Torchwick and Penny would go with each other, as they would go upstairs, as Neo and Pyrrha would go adventure downstairs. As Neo and Pyrrha, let's go with them, as they are looking downstairs, they come across a room, as it has Arthur's name on, as it states Arthur. As I would say they would open that door and then we would cut away from them, because that will continue the story. But we cut away to like Pyrrha as we go to Torchwick and Penny. As Torchwick and Penny are looking around this building, they find a massive bath. There are two baths, one probably for females and the other one for males. They continue looking around. They see a garden. It's a massive field of just farms. No one knows what. These farms are pretty weird, because the fruits are, and the pumpkins and other fruits are massive. And some of the trees look weirdly shaped. They don't know what's happening here. They don't know where they are. As Penny states, the fruits are at least the size of a car. Damn, look at how big that pumpkin is. As the pumpkin ranges up to the size of a normal sized tree. So if you have a tree in your backyard, just think of the tree as a comparison, and that's how big the pumpkins are. As Penny said, you can make a house in that. You can make a house out of that pumpkin. As Torchwick's like, yeah, you could. As they continue walking out on the balcony, as they hear a voice. So it seems like seems like all of you are awake. As the person is smoking, as the person blows, as Torchwick looks to the side, as he states, and who are you? And who are you? And are you the one that brought us here? As this mystery girl states, I might be not. What is it to you? As she basically continues smoking. As what Torchwick can see is she's a faunus. What he thinks she's a faunus. But the weird thing that comes to Torchwick's mind is she has both ears, a tail. She has ears and a tail. So that's just weird because a faunus is only supposed to have one thing one thing. They're supposed to only have, if they have ears, they can't have a tail. If they have tail, they can't have ears. That's the one thing they can only have. But her, well, she has both. So that's what makes her interesting and kind of weird at the same time. As she turns around, as her back was facing towards them, as now her back is facing towards where she was smoking. Sorry about that cough. As now Torchwick gets a good look at her face. She has red gloves. Her hair is black, but on the inside is red. And her coat, I guess, is white. She's also wearing something black underneath, but he can't see it. She has one sword strapped to her heel. She has one sword strapped to her waist. She's wearing a Let's not go too deep into detail. I was going to say something stupid now. Let's not go too deep into detail. As her eyes is gold with a black. Her iris is gold with a black pupil. I think that's what you call it. As she looks attractive. That's all I can say. As I have a picture just for her. So, you two are wandering around my house, and you might be looking for Arthur, correct? As Penny says, correct, if Arthur is anywhere here. And we're also wondering why you brought us here. Well, you all seemed like you were good friends with my brother, as they were just speaking about Arthur a few minutes ago, so that's what they can like put two and two together. Arthur, this girl saying that her good friends with her brother, so Arthur, they can put two and two together. As she states, if we don't want to cause a fight here, so sure, I'll take him to you. And you mind, as she was about to say, she was about to say something else until an explosion happens underground. Boom. As we see, see this girl basically look towards where the explosion came, which was inside the house, as she starts running. As she grabs the two by the collar and just books it with them. And she's pretty fast and pretty strong because she's carrying both Penny and Torchwick at the same time, as she jumps over the railings inside the building, ends up at the bottom final floor, and runs down the hall. As she stops, drops the two, and then continues running and runs in the room. As she says, "What's happening here?" As she was about to draw her blade, as a, we see two people facing off. We see, I would say, a team of very different, like, they're different people. What I can't tell you they're like what they actually are right now, but they're different people. As they are busy facing off, or they are busy facing off against, they're busy facing off against Neo and Pyrrha. As Neo states, "Get away from Arthur, whoever you are, and why did you bring us here?" As one of the men looks towards another one, as they look like they're having a conversation, but they're not moving their mouths. So it's like telekinesis of sorts. They're speaking with each other's mind. As we see this girl that's claiming to be Arthur's sister walk in and just looks at them, as it's like she spoke to them, but you couldn't hear anything. As they all basically lower their weapons, as one of them basically give off an angry look, be like, like a Bakugo, like a Bakugo look, and crosses his arms, and then just looks away and walks away. As she says, "No need for violence. We didn't bring you here to fight." As she says, "And how can we trust you?" Ask your friends there. As Torchwick and Pyrrha walk in finally, as Torchwick is winded, Pyrrha is just fine, as she states that she's claiming to be Arthur's brother. As, yeah, I'm gonna stop it there, guys. As you can tell, this is not gonna be an hour-long video, and yeah, part 2 I'll be explaining the rest now. Part 2 I'll be explaining the rest, but yeah, I'll be stopping it here. So, until the next video, guys. Bye. Hey, future Rogue Assassin here. I just edited this last piece of video in because I am here to tell you to like, subscribe, and don't forget to comment down below, and also like hit the notification bell to be notified of all my new what ifs that I might be posting. I'm still thinking on any new what ifs I will be posting, but for now I might be going over some of the old what ifs that I still have to brush over. And I might be redoing some of them. But until next time, guys, bye now.